We just saw Black Panther, and we're going to share our thoughts with you in this special edition episode of DIS Pop. DIS Pop is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. Experts are helping you plan the perfect vacation. Visit them on the web at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everybody. I am your host, Ryno Clavin, joined as always by my co-host over here, Craig Williams.
Hello.
And we have seen the latest from Marvel Studios and Disney, the Black Panther. It's not the Black Panther, it's just Black Panther.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, big, a movie doing pretty well for itself right now.
Exactly, yeah. And obviously we saw a lot of the requests out there for people asking if we would talk about this, on top of the fact that we were going to anyways, plus the massive opening weekend that it just had. It would be inappropriate for us to not talk about it at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. So where would you like to start, Craig?
I'll just start with my overall impression of the movie.
Okay.
And that's that I found it to be very entertaining. I thought it is absolutely another solid entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe from start to finish. And considering, while I've been excited for every Marvel movie that's coming out now in 2018, in particular, because we have Infinity War coming up next after this, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp following that. This was going to be a very big year for Marvel. I wasn't expected to been so impressed right away. I was expecting the real mind bender was going to be Infinity War. And while I won't say that I was my mind was bending over Black Panther, it was really well made. Really well made.
There's no question. We both enjoyed the movie thoroughly. I think I rank it differently than you. That's fine. I think it's just a matter of preference and what you look for in a Marvel movie, maybe, or whatever. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought, overall, great direction. I loved the score. The soundtrack was really cool too. Listening to that, I've been listening to it out of the movie, and it has a lot of bad words in it.
Yeah.
And I am incredibly surprised by that a little bit. So if you are somebody who you're really enjoying it while you're watching it, I do believe maybe some of the songs were edited for the movie while they were in it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not swearing in the movie. Like every Marvel movie has the swears, But the soundtrack is explicit on every song, and not graphically explicit. It's just there. It's part of the artist's choice,
Yeah,
Kendrick
exactly.
Lamar.
Yeah, and it's not all songs by him. The soundtrack itself was songs that he did create for the movie, as well as songs that were inspired by the movie, and that's a very good thing to remember in terms of that. I've been listening to it while I was at the gym, and it's a lot of good pump up music for that too. Interestingly enough, though, you and I both talked about it as soon as we got out of the movie. I am in love with the score.
Oh yeah, 100%. I have it saved in my Spotify account right now. I was listening to that last night and this morning, because I actually saw the movie twice now, and we talked about this, is that Marvel had, up until recently, because you pointed out another one, the scores have been kind of irrelevant. They're there and they're needed, but it's not like, I think back to John Williams' Superman score or Danny Elfman's Batman theme, themes that still to this day you can still hum. Everyone knows the Superman theme when they hear it, and I feel like a lot of Marvel movies of late, other than I'd say the X-Men kind of has a theme, but they don't really have. There's no real theme songs for the character. And so I felt this way with the movies too, that they don't really have scores that stand out. Guardians got a big rep because of its soundtrack, and that's not the same thing, But you pointed out to me that the trend is kind of changing.
Yeah, when Thor Ragnarok was released, that was kind of the first step in making a unique sound for the actual score. I mean, before that, I think the first time that Marvel really did anything that was like an iconic moment in a score would have been the Avengers theme by Alan Silvestri. And even that is...
Which is the Avengers theme Marvel's theme when the scroll comes up? Yeah, because I was going to say that one is very noticeable. And so it's like what you were maybe about to say, but it's one of those where like, do I know it now because it's the Marvel... Bum, 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 like the scroll.
I liked it because basically I tried to listen to all the scores that were released for Marvel films, and the only one that I could really ever really sit down and enjoy myself listening to it was the Avengers. Mm-hmm. So
no, I agree. I definitely agree that was the best one too. Yeah.
I mean that's changed now, and this one is done by Ludwig Göransson, who also collaborated with director Ryan Coogler on the score for
Creed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he's part of what Ryan Coogler did with Black Panther. We're gonna have to fight ourselves the entire time from saying the Black Panther. Because I know
it's
so
hard.
Right.
It feels like because it's. I feel like the Black Panther is like distinguished. Like we are like he's the man. Yeah. He's here. You know.
But yeah, part of what Ryan Coogler was trying to do was he wanted everything to be different. He didn't want the standard Marvel editing crew to come in. He didn't want the standard music crew. He wanted it to be his film. And so he brought these changes in, and that's why it is so different from any of the other Marvel films to this date. And it's very, very unique in that way too. Yeah. And I, like I said, part of that has to do with the amazing score that was done by Göransson. It is excellent.
It's like its own character, is what I feel like. You know, there were, the first time I saw it, there were standalone moments that I remembered when the movie was over, like when T'Challa is on the end. Oh, FYI.
Oh, spoilers.
This is a spoiler review. So we're not going to go into like incredibly, we might not. I'm just saying, be prepared.
Yeah.
You know, but there is a scene, and this is earlier on in the movie, where T'Challa goes to the ancestral plane that first time after he becomes rightfully king, and he sees his father. There is like this violin music that is just playing, that is just like intense and quick and abrupt, and it's like I don't know. It was really got to me. And then there's a lot of really kind of like tribal sounding music in this as well that I really, really enjoyed. Because not only was it very different, but it really, really kind of fit the visuals and what we were seeing, and it really plays off of them so well. I don't know. There were a lot of moments where it was either like a smile on my face, or I was feeling stuff just from that alone. You know? So I mean, I think that's a testament to a score, you know. But again, it's director's choice. Do they want the score to be a character? Do they want it to be non-noticeable? Whatever.
Exactly.
You know, I thought that was really good, and then I thought the blending of that with the soundtrack, you know, the songs that were created for the movie was also very well done.
Yeah.
You know, and I noticed it a lot more the second time too. The soundtrack songs incorporation. Like I heard it the first time, but I wasn't sure what was soundtrack and what was being incorporated into the score. But yeah, I thought direction was great. I thought the score was great. I thought it was very distinctly its own thing, but also felt like it fit with the others. Do you feel like it felt like a Marvel movie, or do you feel like...
No, I honestly don't feel like it felt like a Marvel movie, but that's not bad. While I don't think it felt like it blended seamlessly in to the cinematic universe, it's not the first one that I don't think has blended seamlessly into it. While Spider-Man: Homecoming, while that uses like Tony Stark in it, I don't think it's a seamless fit right in. It is
it messes up the timeline a little bit too. I've read some stuff about that,
and it's a different feel. That's not a bad thing. When Guardians of the Galaxy first came out, it didn't blend right in easily, and clearly that's been a great thing. So it doesn't.
No, but I mean, like
this.
The Guardians to me does feel like it's its own thing, but I don't. When they're in Infinity War, it's not going to feel weird to me. I don't know. Maybe it's also because the Black Panther, because Black Panther was introduced in Civil War. I already have that feeling that it's. I mean, but this doesn't look like Civil War either. I don't know. There's a lot going on here.
It's tough, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make it, because I personally don't feel like it fit in with the cinematic universe. That's not a knock on it at all. I think, if anything, we need this every now and then to refresh.
Oh yeah,
refresh
100%.
The cinematic universe. I don't want everything to be the exact same. That's when it gets boring, and that's when it gets weighed down. And that's part of the problem that I had. The first Guardians did not feel like it was in that universe.
Yeah.
It felt so different. The second one, I think now with the changes with the movies that came before, the second one felt like it belonged. And that's part of what kind of weighed it down for me. It just felt like a rehash. I will say a knock on Black Panther, while the movie doesn't feel like it's in that universe per se, I felt like the plot line was very, very loose, very weak. And if anything, I would say it was very stereotypical in that there was not a single surprise along the way. Not that there has to be, but when you can start like guessing which characters are going to die, what surprises are going to happen along the way, that's the sign of a not necessarily a weak script, but maybe not as tight as it could be.
See, I think this is where we're differ on opinion too. I do agree with what you're saying. Like, I don't think that there was any there was no twist for me either. I don't. There was nothing that you couldn't see. Like, I mean, when I say surprise, I mean like, oh my goodness, I didn't see that coming. Like, there are some reveals in the movie that you could be generally like, oh, but I don't think there was nothing to take my breath away or anything like that. But I did really, and I saw a lot more the second time. Is a lot. I really liked how the story is told. The story, like, trying to go over it loosely without sounding like a complete moron, is it's about the I don't know, Wakanda's not a city, it's a nation. The nation of Wakanda, and how it starts out with this really beautifully told and interestingly told what's that called at the beginning of the movie? A prologue. With the sand coming and going, about how the vibranium meteorite hit Africa, and the city was built on top of it, and how the city was founded on the nation. The nation was founded by these 5 tribes. 4 of them agreed to get together. One's on the outside, and just kind of how they run and how they decided to hide Wakanda from the world. And so the movie addresses kind of where this incredibly advanced nation of black people were during the time of slavery. Why weren't they helping people? Yeah. Why weren't they saving people? And so the motivations of Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger character is he's angry about that. Where are you? The black community has been flooded with drugs and guns and weapons, and they've been pushed down, and so his character is almost representative of the current state, whereas I feel like Wakanda is very representative of like the United States at some parts, because not just in the United States, it's not specifically targeting that. It's targeting ideals. Like, they talk about refugees, because he starts saying, well, what would we do? And he's like, well, we should help people. And he's saying, when you take in refugees, then their problems become your problems. And, so they give up their security, but the argument is that they are stable enough that they can help these people and defend themselves at the same time. And it all felt current, and
I agree. The themes of the movie were great.
Yeah, no. I'm just that's what I guess I was feeding into more. It's like it's like I like that aspect of it. I liked I don't know.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, I understand.
I didn't mean to.
I think
you're disagreeing about that.
No, we're just on 2 different parts. I agree with you entirely on the theme, the social structures of it. My problem is then when you come down to A leads to B, which leads to C, which leads to D.
No, and I agree. I mean, I like you said, there is no major twist. It is the story of a king. A king who comes to power, is questioned by power. It actually, and this is, I don't mean for this to sound rude, it reminded me of The Lion King a couple times. And essentially The Lion King is Macbeth, which essentially is just a story about a king.
Exactly. This is
Macbeth,
a story
Hamlet,
that has been told, maybe with a little bit of differences here and there. It's a story that's been told before. You know that the little boy in the beginning, unless you just don't watch a lot of movies, don't think about this stuff, if you go in with your brain off all the time, that's your thing. That's not what I do. I look at the movie as it's happening. There was no question in my mind that the little boy out playing basketball when the first shot was Killmonger. There was no doubt in my mind that someone was going to step up to challenge T'Challa, and T'Challa was going to win and show his power, but then he was also going to lose it because you need to show his rise to be king. He didn't have the rise. He didn't have that rise in Civil War. He came out kicking butt in that movie and then just kind of seamlessly went into that. So then when Killmonger is there, you know that you could tell right away that his friend was going to betray him and side with Killmonger instead of siding with T'Challa. It was one of the, it's not always a bad thing. Every now and then there's going to be just cliche movies. Not everything can be original, unique, and creative. What I did enjoy, though, as you were pointing out, while the story was cliche in its progression, the themes they chose to focus on were refreshing and unique. And because of that, because it had such a good positive theme in it, something that could really make you think, it's okay that the story was cliche.
Yeah. I don't like the word cliche, but I know what you're saying. I 100% know what you're saying. It's like an archetype.
There's a million other words we could say to describe it. It's just that point. It's this, the movie to me, while there was elements in it that were brand new, the story itself,
it doesn't
been
turn
there,
the
done
superhero genre on its head or anything like that by any means. No. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot for me. There's a lot of standout moments. I mean, we both kind of came out of this too talking about how well the action is directed in the film. Oh, some of the best,
quite arguably the best moments. The South Korea scenes were just amazing.
It was just this one. And they do it a couple. I feel like there was another time in the movie he did it too, but there was this one extended camera shot that just started and weaved and through this casino where they're just like fighting, and it's going from the first level to the second level back up to the second level, and it's not even excessive. It's just really impressive how it's all kind of was this one take, and then there's a car chase scene that follows that's really well done as well. And even the finale scenes are good. I will say the standout action scene for me is that casino and car chase scene, though.
Yeah, no, that's where I knew that at least action-wise this was going to be unlike anything else. But that also kind of lends itself to Black Panther, is that it is different. With the superheroes, you understand a lot of their powers, what makes them special and unique. With the technology, the limits of vibranium, it's basically limitless. So when it's combined with the suit, where Black Panther can't be shot, it's only the moments where the suit can lose weakness, like it does during the climactic battle scene. Like, that's the only time Black Panther is weak. So it's like, the question isn't what could possibly happen to him. It's what has to happen to potentially affect him. And that's where you get like Claw's arm gun that can just rip through automobiles, which is like,
I thought that was
just
cool.
Crazy.
Yeah, I love how that character kind of worked his way back in, because he, for those who don't remember, Andy Serkis plays Claw, and Andy Serkis is just honestly just one of those people that's never going to get the awards and the attention he deserves for being the human being that he is. But he played Claw in Age of Ultron and had his arm chopped off by Ultron, and he gave Ultron he was the one who told him where to find the vibranium, right? For to turn himself into that indestructible monster. And I just love that he's got that just years later is now like tied into this, because Claw's, even in the comics, is Black Panther's, like, is a bad guy from Black Panther. And so it's just a really cool, I don't know, I just really liked it. And Andy Serkis' performance in that character is just so off the wall, weird and uncomfortable, and it's like good. It's great. If anything, he's not even in the movie enough, I feel like.
It's like you said, Andy Serkis will never get enough credit as an actor, let alone he doesn't even get the credit he deserves from all his motion capture.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a scene where I wasn't even thinking about this the first time I saw the movie, where Martin Freeman, who plays Everett Ross from Civil War, you remember the CIA agent, he is face to face with Claw in the thing, and I was like, there's old Bilbo and Gollum staring at each other again.
It's I think Andy Serkis is great in this. All the acting was great. There's not a character that there was no characters that stuck out like, okay, this is not great acting. There were better characters than other. Like, I don't think anyone expected Shuri to be kind of the breakout star of the movie.
Shuri being T'Challa's younger sister, who has now been established as the smartest mind in the Marvel universe. So smarter than Tony Stark. I believe that was officially announced or something like that. So
I mean, it makes common sense, and it's part of that. It's just there's not been a character like her in any other Marvel movie. She was so entertaining to watch every time she was on screen.
And Lupita Nyong'o is she's killing it. Yeah. She's doing so well for her. She is just, I mean, come on. There's nothing she's Disney's best friend, apparently, too. She's in Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney film now. She just needs an animated feature, and she's got the Pixar, and then we get her in there.
I mean, at this point, I don't know if I've seen every Lupita Nyong'o movie.
I have not, because I haven't seen Queen of Katwe.
And see, I have seen Queen of Katwe, and I've seen 12 Years a Slave, and I've seen everything she's done in this. So I don't know if that's everything, but I have never once been like, nah, she's not as hyped up as she is to be. She is one of the finest working actors in Hollywood right now. Yeah, just incredible.
It's just she's got a presence, that it just like commands your attention. And this was a role that I was almost, I don't know, it was just, she is in a perfect role in this movie. Also, I feel like I don't know if I'm saying that right. Denai Carrera from The Walking Dead, Michonne from The Walking Dead, who plays Okoye, which is the general of the Black Panther's army, of Wakanda's army, and of the female, because like of the main tribe, I guess, because I don't know who T'Challa, he oversees all of Wakanda, but then there is oh my goodness, what was his name? W'Kabi, the gentleman from Get Out. He had like Caillou. People with him. So was he like another tribe?
Yeah, no, that's one of the other tribes.
One of the four?
You see it when they do the challenge.
Oh, that's right. And because they have the four tribes that come up, and there's the river tribe, the thing. Okay.
Yeah, and then the final tribe comes out. I can't remember. It's like M'Baku is the guy. Yeah.
And it's like some Jatari are the aliens from
Jabari,
yeah.
Yeah, the Jabari.
They're the gorilla. They worship the gorilla because all their stuff is like the gorilla holding up their castle and stuff.
No,
like
I remember reading something where like he was supposed to be called Manape. That was his character's name. But
in the comic book?
I think in the comic book,
because that sounds familiar. Yeah, okay.
But obviously, it's a little bit offensive. In this day and age to say that.
I actually really enjoyed that character though quite a bit. I thought he was another, like, he added some levity into a more dramatic scene later on, and he's only got a little part, but
but you also knew that he was going to come and save the day too.
Well, here's the thing. If you haven't watched a trailer for this movie and you're listening to this, well, first of all, you're ruining the movie for yourself. But second of all, this is one of those movies where when we watched it, I was like, man, I really wish I didn't actually see the trailer for this. Like, I wish I hadn't seen maybe even past the first trailer, because it was like they were using shots from the battle scene that I was like, it was... it's not like you watching the movie, you're like, he will help, but you kind of knew he was going to help because they show a shot of him helping in the trailer.
I don't think I remember that. But
I remember the scene where he was holding up the guy.
I don't study that well enough, or I don't remember it long enough, but Chadwick Boseman, to go over it too, is just phenomenal, but he's another one of those actors. I don't think I've seen anything yet that I haven't liked him in, even a movie like Get On Up that wasn't that great.
But he becomes the characters, which is crazy. Yeah. Like, he's one of those people that's really good at like the voice is never the same.
Yeah.
Like he's good, he really kind of transforms himself for the roles. I feel like sometimes, I mean, I guess he looks like T'Challa in real life is like his more normalized look. He doesn't look like Jackie Robinson, obviously, or not Jackie Robinson. Yeah, he played Jackie Robinson.
He played
didn't
Jackie
in
Robinson
52?
too in 42.
42,
and that was
sorry.
another
Yeah.
excellent one.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, another.
Yeah.
Just he was awesome
as a
in
bad
this.
guy.
And yeah, no, he was excellent. And I read something after, did not dawn on me at the second. Any people now that have played the Human Torch have gone on to bigger and better roles in Marvel movies.
Oh yeah, because Chris Evans is Captain America and he was Killmonger. Interesting. It all comes around full circle. That Ryan Reynolds started out. Well, I guess he started out in Blade, which everybody I feel like forgets, and then he went to DC, and then he came back to Marvel, and then he had to do Marvel again because that first Deadpool was terrible. That from the Wolverine, not the first Deadpool movie. That movie was excellent.
But we should give a shout out then too. You did mention Daniel Kaluuya, who played Wakabi.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Most people know him from Get Out now, and I think he's on his way to just killing it in everything. Loved, you already mentioned Martin Freeman and the Andy Serkis connection there. Mm-hmm. I thought Martin Freeman did a good job at bringing what very little humor was in this movie, which I would argue that this is up there in terms of the least humorous Marvel movies. It would probably be in the top 3. And what moments there was with funny bits, there was some on the Wakanda and stuff, but I think Martin Freeman did a good job because he went into Wakanda once they finally took him there and he woke up. He had no idea what to expect from it, and so it was kind of funny watching it through his eyes now of seeing all of this for the first time.
I do think that, and I just want to bring this up too, is that I think Martin Freeman, his character of Everett Ross was a wonderful inclusion in the movie because he kind of played what is a great example of somebody that is an ally to people like that there's somebody he didn't need attention when it came to battle. He was just there to help, and he jumped in front of the girl, he took the bullet, he stayed until the final end of the fight and everything, and it wasn't for glory, he kept the seat. He was the white guy who could shut up and get out of the way when he needed to, or go with the flow. He didn't try and take over anything, he didn't try and whatever, beyond the duties of his CIA job in the casino, because it was his setup that they were interfering with. But I appreciated that. I liked that a lot. I thought that was just one of those things that it's not something you're actively thinking about. You just kind of think about it later on, where you're like, oh.
I do have to share something that I disliked about it, and it's something that hasn't.
If you say Sterling K. Brown, I'll be so sad.
No. Like I said, all the acting is just phenomenal all around. We mentioned how the action scenes are almost more over the top and completely different than what's been done before. Part of that, and part of building the city of Wakanda, it's impossible to build this fictional place. But I keep saying city now too. Jeez,
I'm sorry, nation.
Yeah.
Well, because the visual of it looks like a little city.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like I got CGI burnout watching this, and
I know what you're talking about. I mean,
it's the only way to create this entire world. It was the only way to accurately represent the movie. When, yes, the scenes in South Korea, like the actual locations they were filming, those were on location there.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant, but there was so much CGI. And I know that's how it had to be in order to make this movie. So I'm not faulting it on that, but I get to the point where it's like, you clearly know that when they're both in their
suits,
when he's in the Black Panther suit and he's in the Gold Panther suit, it's like, that's just, they're not actually fighting. This is all CGI.
Well, I think they're in their suits sometimes. Yeah, but I did question the suit stuff more specifically the second time, because I was like, are the suits motion capture in this movie? Because I know it's an actual suit in the other movie. And, whenever he does big jumps or big crazy whatever, obviously when he's jumping from car to car, stuff like that, a lot of that is CGI and stuff. But it's the scene where they dive down into the pit, into vibranium pit,
Yeah,
the
the
vibranium mine.
mines.
And they're falling and they're fighting each other. And I was like, there is not a single image here that is real. But then they were standing down there, and that's, the scene where the suits are fading on and off of them a little bit. And I started to think, like, is there an actual suit here that's cut out and they're just adding the effects? Or is this all motion capture right now?
And that's the part. A lot of it does look, CGI is still not perfect yet. There is still, you can tell when something
when a body
it looks
is
a little too fluid and a little too off. And I just had that feeling a couple too many times watching this. And again, I understand that's the only way they can't just build an entire nation in order to make this. They can't, vibranium does not exist. They can't just make this stuff that doesn't exist. They can't just build it practically for this. It has to be CGI, and it didn't. That's just one of those things for me. I feel like I come and go on those CGI phases.
I was like, I understand what you're talking about. It didn't bother me, but I can see I could see what you were talking about in the movie, 100%.
And that, I think a lot of that's coming from, since I've had Movie Pass and I've been seeing a lot more movies. I've been seeing a lot more dramas, stuff I typically wouldn't watch in theaters that are not using CGI, all practical. So then to go from a lot of that, going from I, Tonya to Phantom Thread to, all these like kind of dry dramas like that, then to go to a CGI fest, it's like, it is very jarring. And that's more based on where I came into seeing the movie. If you're only seeing a lot of action blockbusters and stuff, I don't think you're going to quite notice that as much. But nothing is perfect. So
I don't believe you.
Let's not.
There has to be a perfect something out there. Perfect movie. Could such a thing ever exist?
No.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's because film is ever changing, and so are our opinions and whatnot. Should we talk about other things? I don't really know where to go. I mean, I like I said, we talked about the score, we talked about the soundtrack, we talked about the acting, which every single person, anybody who's anybody is in this movie, pretty much. And the direction's great. I know you talked about CGI. I thought the costumes were great. I thought it did a really good job of establishing its own unique look. Like, it felt colorful and respectful of what was, while also, looking old but new at the same time. It was like, not old. I don't know where I'm looking for this. Traditional, like it had the tradition combined with this like new stuff, and
it looked like that perfect blend of what you would kind of see, like if you were looking at African tribes and stuff, what you would see from their wardrobe, but of course mixed with the technology that they've developed, that they've allocated into their wardrobe and everything that they carry, stuff like that. I can't imagine anyone walking out of Black Panther and saying like, that was not good. Like, I just can't. I can't see that. It's like I said, I do not classify
saying it's not your favorite. That's one thing. Saying it's a bad movie, that's another thing.
Exactly.
For me, I think it is one of my favorites, and that's okay. And you saying like, "Oh, it's not in my top 10," that's okay too. But you're acknowledging that it is a good movie. It is a good movie. There's no question about that.
The difficult part with Marvel movies now, it's kind of like Pixar. It's just gotten to the point where when you produce this many good movies, it starts to get hard to put together.
When you start to say, when you're like, well, where does it say? And you're like, well, you're up against movies like The Winter Soldier and The Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. And, or Thor, Thor Ragnarok. Like, you're getting into that territory now, which is great that we are finally here in the Marvel Universe. It had its like weird bumps, but I was thinking that while I was watching Black Panther was like, they're really embracing things that seem a little more out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The idea that this nation lives on this asteroid, they don't live on the asteroid, but you know what I mean? It's powered by a metal from outer space. Like that, I think back to like when the MCU first started, and it was like everything tried to be like Iron Man. They wanted everything to be really really oriented in like real life.
Yeah,
and so like, you know, it took
cut and
forever to
dry.
get to the mystical, to Doctor Strange, and they were worried about Guardians. They were worried about Doctor Strange, and now here we have Black Panther finally. But clearly I just want to say too, I can't even imagine what this movie means to somebody, a young child that like who is going to see this and say like that superhero, that guy, he looks like me, and there's this movie, you know, that it was not lost on me by any means. You know, I when I saw it the second time, like there was a couple people a couple rows down, and normally like people clap or whatever in movies, sometimes it annoys me, but this one I was like, it made me feel really good. And I saw it with these two guys that were sitting next to me, and they were like, they're very respectful, very quiet the whole time, and like every now and then they'd be like, oh my gosh, like, you know, so they were clearly not as into movies as we were, because some of the reveals did shock them.
Yeah.
But there were moments in this movie where this guy was like, yes, you know, clapping, like when T'Challa beats not Wakabi, the other one, M'Baku, and he like yields, and the guy was just so happy. And then there's a lot of really, really awesome scenes with Okoye, and she, for me, is like one of the, even her character of being like, when T'Challa is thrown from the throne and Killmonger takes over, and they all go to run, she's loyal to the throne. She's loyal to, you know, so there's even that theme of being like, are you you know, to what was and what is, and how do you know, do you overthrow? Do you not overthrow? I don't know. There's a lot of really interesting stuff in here. And I just really, seeing it I would recommend seeing this in a movie theater. I know you had issues with the length and stuff like that, but there's just was this energy, and I didn't feel it the first time, because I do think we had a really weird, tame audience or something when we saw it the first time. But the second one, like there was a woman who was like, she yelled out like "bow before your queen" or something, and I was like, wow, they love, like the audience that I was with, we all like it, just you could feel it, you know?
Yeah, no, our audience was definitely on the quiet side,
very muted.
But I understand what you're saying too. It's, you know, the fact is, it's everyone is loving this movie, and it's easy to see why, because it is, and I don't want to use words like, I know we've already said it, I don't want to use words like refreshing over and over again, but when you are seeing something for the first time, and you can argue that Blade was the first time there was a strong superhero that's a person of color. Like, you can argue that. No, Blade wasn't that good. It's still not that good. This is completely different.
Hey,
because
the first one's pretty good.
Okay, agree to disagree on that. But it's kind of, and I don't want to equate it to Wonder Woman, but it was the same thing too.
Okay, this is literally what I was going to say.
I'm not a woman, obviously.
Well,
so I'm not.
Thank you for letting us know.
I'm not, but when I watch it, I'm like, okay, I want to see more like this, because it is different and it is unique, and this is why we keep seeing movies, not to see the same movie over and over again, to see something different. That's why when artists are putting together a new album, they don't repeat their sound over and over again. They try to find something new. So seeing this, while I'm not a person of color, we are all in the greater environment of, we don't want to see the same thing over and over again. And I hate that Hollywood is stuck in that way of thinking, if we make another Transformers movie the exact same way as the last, the people will come out, it might make money, but you know what? At the same time too, that's all we're being given. It's hard to really say
like movies
what can
that
happen.
Inspire. You
Yes.
know, and I would, there's no question to me that this will inspire somebody, you know, people, you know, it makes me feel things. It made me feel happy. It made me feel emotional, you know, and that's a testament to any film that makes you feel anything at all, you know. And it's like what you said. I actually sent a text to my friend Kim afterwards, so I got out, because she saw Wonder Woman, and I don't think she's a big superhero person, but she was like, she took to Wonder Woman in a way that was completely unexpected to me. Like, she wrote me like an essay about how much she liked this, why she liked it, and the innocence of it, and all this stuff. So I had to text her, because I was like, I think you definitely need to go see Black Panther while it's in the movie theater, because this movie does exactly the same type of a thing that Wonder Woman did for like a female driven story. This one does that for like on that scale, and not just female driven, just everything like what you said, but it does it times 10. So I feel like Wonder Woman did this thing really successfully, but this is just done. I feel like there's a lot more going on in themes and commentaries on society and all that stuff in not an in-your-face way, but in a human, relatable story way. And it just does it so well. So if you're somebody who you did enjoy Wonder Woman, I think that you will really enjoy this movie.
Okay, let's talk just real quick before we wrap things up here about the end credits sequence.
Okay, so there's two, and if you are somebody that is getting up and leaving the movie theater when the credits start rolling in a Marvel movie in the year 2018, what are you doing with your life? First of all, there's the mid-credit scene is not them, it's T'Challa and his entourage, and they are addressing the UN as Wakanda, and it was a weird mid-credit scene.
No,
not weird, but I was like, this felt like it should have been part of the main movie for me. But.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can argue that about any of the end credit scenes. They could always be put in there. But basically, in the mid-credits roll, he's in front of the United Nations saying that Wakanda's finally going to open up and they're going to start to share some of what they've learned in their technology with the world, where then I don't remember which nation.
I don't remember it. He says the wise build bridges in time of needs and the foolish build barriers. And I was like, ooh, snap.
And like basically,
I don't remember the nation.
The nation. He basically just insults him like, "Oh, well, what's your tiny little?
What can the country of Wakanda offer the rest of it? What can a farming? I think he calls it a farming nation or something. Offer the rest of the world?" And you're like, you sassy.
Yeah. So it was cool for that moment. Like, okay. It's because then Chadwick Boseman just gets this little grin on his face, like, just you wait. So
they also could not cut to black on the scene when the little kid turns to him and goes, "Who are you?" How could you not cut and be like Black Panther, And like, so there's the other part of that where I was like, the scene definitely takes place after that, but I don't know. There's but then the other end credit scene, for those who know who else is also in Wakanda, they address Bucky. Yeah. Because if you remember the end credit scene of Civil War, which Eli did not, is that Bucky is Steve Rogers, Captain America, brings the Winter Soldier, Bucky, to T'Challa, and they put him in like a cryo sleep or something, and he is there. And so this end scene has him waking up in like a hut and by a river, and Shuri is there with him, and she calls him Agent, whatever, Captain Barnes, and he's like, Bucky, and she's like, how are you feeling? And he's like, better, and so she's like, well, we've got a lot of work to do, but the kids refer to him as White Wolf. Yeah. So I read about this because I was like, interesting. Some people might think it's just an offhanded comment, but the White Wolf is actually a character in Black Panther. Mm-hmm. So he is a character that looked after. So they talk about the war dogs a couple times in this movie. It's essentially like they're Wakandan spies that are kind of. I don't want to say spies. I want to say informants that are in major cities around the world and stuff. And so there's a secret police or whatever, and the White Wolf used to lead the secret police, and then they disbanded. And I think the White Wolf was like a guy who was originally kind of a bad guy and then gets turned around a little bit. And so they were saying that Killmonger's character borrowed a lot from the White Wolf, but they're saying that there could be a theory that Bucky becomes White Wolf.
And you know what? I would be totally open for that. It was great to finally see that wrapped up with him right before Infinity War. Yeah. When you know that we're going to see him again, and if things go like people expect, Captain America won't make it out, and then
I think Sam Wilson is
Falcon
going
to take the role over of Captain America, and with Bucky, I think Bucky will make it out, but it would be cool to see him thrown instead of in the whole Avengers timeline, since we know after this phase is over, it's starting fresh at the drawing board. It would be really great to see to see him thrown into another character's world, kind of like what works so well with Thor Ragnarok with Hulk and Thor together.
Exactly.
It worked well.
I love the mini using two different characters as opposed to like it being a whole like Avengers event, you know.
So, but overall, my impressions, go see it.
Where do you think it's too early to rank it for you?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about just doing it on phase 3, what's currently out on phase 3, and I could never place it in a rank in the entire thing right now.
Well, you made a valid point. Okay, so think about it like what we had before, what we have now. And we've always had this kind of trouble, or at least I have. It's like you want to rank before a while ago. It was like Winter Soldier and like Guardians. And you're like, how can you say which is better than the other? Because one's a space opera, one's a political thriller. And now I honestly feel like that with Black Panther is like, this one doesn't, it's like what you said, it doesn't fit the rest. Like it's here, but it's also, it is one of those where it becomes a little hard. And I want to say, I love that about the MCU right now is that there are so many different types of good options too. So
yeah, I mean, just looking at phase 3, just real quickly, we have Civil War, we have Doctor Strange, Volume 2, Homecoming, and Ragnarok, plus Black Panther. And I can say for me, in terms of those movies that are currently out right now, I know personally that Ragnarok right now is my... I think I said after that was released, that's like my number 3 MCU film. So Ragnarok is just... There's so much good about it. And I thought it was so good. Using Taika Waititi as the director was just such a brilliant move on that. So Ragnarok's my favorite of that. And then I'm a really big fan of Doctor Strange. I know I am in the minority
watch it again. Yeah.
But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I not only, part of what hurt that movie is Benedict Cumberbatch as Stephen Strange is very unlikable, but that's his character.
Yeah.
Even at the end, he's still not a likable character, and I know that that's hard to deal with, but guess what? Sometimes heroes aren't likable. That's just, they do the job they need to do to protect. Doesn't mean they're doing it and they also need to be glorious like Tony Stark. It's a balancing act. So, but I mean, for me, the humor got me in that. Chiwetel Ejiofor was just awesome in it as well. There was a lot of good stuff, but then like I also like Homecoming a lot, but I would put Black Panther for sure above Civil War and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I've got to view them again. I got to view Thor. I got to watch Ragnarok one more time. And Stephen Strange and everything. So my immediate impression when I left was this is a great Marvel movie and it might be one of my favorites.
Yeah. And
but I like that. I like the Rise of a King and stuff like that.
Yeah. I made the comment that I don't know if it's in the top 10. When you really think about it, it probably is in my top 10 because in the first phase, basically the only good one out of that is the Avengers. In the second phase, I like Winter Soldier and Guardians. And then in the third phase, I like Doctor Strange, Homecoming, and Ragnarok. So it probably is around like number 6 for me when I really start to look at it with everything down. So that's not a bad place. Again, Marvel's just making some really great movies. Yeah, and I look forward to more, and I can't wait to see more of Black Panther in Avengers Infinity War, which I'm sure we will talk about, because how can we not talk about Infinity War? Yeah. But so I'm ready for that. If you've seen Black Panther, please let us know what you thought about it. You can tweet at us individually or together or whatever, or leave comments in this YouTube video. If you enjoyed this review, give us a thumbs up and share it with a friend who might enjoy it as well. But I don't mean to like cut us off or cut us short or anything like that, but we've got to do other stuff, and we've been rattling on for forever, and I could talk about this movie for a lot more, but that goes to show you that's how much I enjoyed it, and that's a good movie. So consensus here, good movie. Check it out for sure. I think definitely make your way to the theater and see it. Thank you, Craig, for taking the time to do this with me. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch this. And until next time, I guess we'll see you later in the next episode of DIS Pop.